What is up, everyone? Movie in back again with another top 10 list. Now, this is going to be my top 10 personal favourite films of all time. Now, I know I did do a top 25 list last month, but they were the top 25 greatest films that I've ever seen. These are my top 10 personal favourites. Now, to me, there is a difference between favourite and greatest, because these are films that I've grew up with, I've got a lot of nostalgia for, and films that I can just rewatch over and over and over again. They're not necessarily the greatest films of all time, as you will see in the list, but they're just personal to me. This is just a personal list. So I'm not saying these are the top 10 best films ever, they're just my personal favourites. Okay, so before I do crack on with the top 10, I've got a few honourable mentions, so let's just get on with those. So for the honourable mentions, I have got The Witches, a horror film made for kids. I absolutely adore it, cannot wait for the remake. I've also got Aladdin, my favourite Disney movie ever, not the live action version, the animated version. I've also got Tim Burton's Batman in here. I understand The Dark Knight and The Batman Begins are better made films, but to me, this is the one I will have seen so many times and I'll watch a lot still to this day. So maybe that'll give you an idea of the list. I've also got Blow in here, Johnny Depp's best performance in my opinion, an underrated movie. I actually lent this to my friend in work and he thinks it's the best film ever made. I've also got Rise of the Foot Soldier. I am part of the cult following here in the UK. I am part of the reason that it's got a sequel 2, a sequel 3 and a sequel 4. And the last one we have here is Face Off. Now, just a great action film from the 90s. Nicolas Cage, one of his best movies. Absolutely love it. But yeah, they're my honourable mentions that I just could not squeeze into this list as much as I wanted to. But let's just crack on with number 10. Okay, number 10 is going to be The Lost Boys, one of the first horror movies I ever watched. The best vampire film ever in my opinion. It tells a serious story, but it's also a black comedy. There's so many great lines in this film, so many great dialogue. I love the whole mystery surrounding David, played by Kiefer Sutherland. And he's trying to get Michael into the gang while his brother's trying to warn him that they are actually vampires. And he's teaming up with the Frog Brothers, played by Corey Feldman and stuff. It's just a fantastic, fun film. And Joel Schumacher gets a lot of hate for Batman and Robin, but this is definitely a massive highlight in his filmography. And also, let's not just forget the fantastic soundtrack. One of the best soundtracks in a movie ever. The first soundtrack I ever bought, and I love that song, I Still Believe, on the saxophone while everyone's at the fun fair on the boardwalk. Just a fantastic movie. Fun movie, one that I can rewatch over and over and over, and I just had to have it in this list. So number 10 is The Lost Boys. Coming in at number 9, a bit of a surprise for everyone, and that is A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, The Dream Warriors. There is quite a few sequels on this list, just to let you know, but this was my introduction into horror. It was my introduction into the Elm Street series. I nagged my mum and dad for the longest time to let me watch A Nightmare on Elm Street after hearing my friends at school talk about this guy with a burnt face, and I was just like, I need to see this film. But after a couple of years of me nagging, my dad finally came home with the VHS of A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, and said, go on son, you can watch it. I watched it for weeks on end. I was so fascinated with it. And this is, without the nostalgic feel attached, this is probably the strongest in the franchise still to this day, because I just think it's so well made. I love the whole mental hospital setting, all the teenagers having the same dream, all getting stalked by Freddy in this mental hospital. There's so many great kills in this, like the guy with the veins walking down the hallway. We've got the Jennifer she's addicted to TV and she falls asleep watching television, and Freddy comes out the TV set and with the big robot arms and just smashes her head through the screen. But this is Freddy probably at his best, because he's borderline scary and borderline comedic. There's a very, very fine balance there, and this is him at his best before he goes full-on comedian in parts 4 and 5. This, to me, along with the first and the second, is what makes Freddy such an iconic movie villain. So yeah, number 9, A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, The Dream Warriors. Okay, number 8 might be a surprise to some people here, because I actually think that this is the best one in the franchise, and it is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Yes, Not Raiders of the Lost Ark, not Last Crusade, I'm not afraid to say it, it's Temple of Doom. I love the film to bits. It was the first Indiana Jones film I ever watched. It's got everything you want in an adventure movie, from where Indy gets poisoned to the waterfall scene. It's not an adventure film if you haven't got a waterfall scene, is it? Just the whole Bangkok palace where, you know, they're eating the monkey brains, to the cult that's underneath the palace, to the fight on the bridge with the big crocodile lake below it. It's just a fantastic film. I love all the chemistry between Willie Scott, Indiana Jones and Short Round, and I like the fact that Indy and Short Round always team up against Willie, even though Indiana Jones secretly wants her romantically. Just a fantastic film, and I cannot for the death of me believe that Steven Spielberg does not like this film. I just can't get my head around it, because I absolutely adore it. So yeah, number 8, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Okay, coming in at number 7, I know the first one was on my top 25 films of all time list, but to me, this is just a more rewatchable film, and I have a little bit more fun with it, even though the first one is a better all-round made movie, and that is Die Hard with a Vengeance. Yeah, look, I love both of them. I do. I love 2 as well, but this one for me is just, I have more fun with this film. I don't know why. It's probably because Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson are back and forth, screaming at each other, always fighting with one another. And I just love the chemistry they have on screen. It's the reason that I want to visit New York in the summer and not the winter, as the streets are just sun-soaked, and it's just really well made. It makes New York look like a brilliant city. I know it is, but I just love the whole feel of New York in this film. You know, I love all the bombs that Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson have got to go and disarm, set up by Jeremy Irons' character, Simon Gruber, and he's the brother of Hans Gruber from the first one. Not as strong as a villain, but still a solid villain. And I love the whole part where he's robbing the gold out of Fort Knox. Just a really well-made action movie. I love it to bits, and you know, it's the Die Hard that I go to if I want to watch a Die Hard movie. So yeah, number 7 is Die Hard with a Vengeance. Okay, coming in number 6, Rocky 3. Now, a lot of people like to say Rocky 4 is their favourite or their go-to film, but that's more of a music video to me. I do like the film, I just prefer this one. Now, Rocky 1 is obviously the best made film in the franchise. It's got the best story, it's better made, but as a rewatchable film, I just think Rocky 3 is the one I go to all the time. Mainly because of Clubber Lang. He's my favourite villain in the Rocky franchise. I love the way he's just so mean to Rocky Balboa in this film. And, you know, I like the way Apollo has to take over from Mickey and train Rocky up after he gets beat by Clubber in the middle of the movie, and just trains him up to be a totally different boxer, totally different fighter. And Rocky is actually afraid in this film because he's been beat by Clubber for the first time of his life. He's afraid. He actually says that in the film. And there's a lot of pressure on him to come back at the end of the film. And I love the final fight. I sometimes I'll just go on YouTube and watch the final fight because I love it that much. And I also love the Hulk Hogan character, Thunder Lips. And when Rocky picks him up and throws him out the ring. Fantastic. And let's not forget the introduction to probably the greatest song ever made, Eye of the Tiger, baby. So yeah, number 6 is Rocky 3. Okay, coming in at number 5 is gonna be The Burbs. A lot of people do love this movie. And my love for this film started when my uncle babysat me and my sister when we were about 6 or 7 years old, and he said, The Burbs is on TV tonight, and we're watching it. And I was just like, okay, what? I don't even know anything about the film, but okay. And my love was born for this film. I've seen it so many times. It's so rewatchable to me. And I just love Tom Hanks in a comedic role. I do prefer his drama, but he's actually good at comedy. But it's the other characters in this film that I love, like Rumsfeld and Art, who's just obsessed with finding these neighbours out to be murderers. So, what I love about The Burbs, it's a mystery film. The first time you've seen it, you don't know if the neighbours are actually murderers or not. And I love that whole aspect. The first time I watched it, I was really like with Tom Hanks and the rest of the neighbours wanting to find out if they were really murderers or not. And I love the whole scene where they actually go into the Klopek's house and they're just such a strange bunch, they really are. But it's just a really funny movie and a really feel-good film, and one that you can watch over and over again. So yeah, number 5 is going to be The Burbs. Okay, coming in at number 4, a Stephen King adaptation, one of my favourite of his, and it's based on a book called The Body, and that is Stand By Me. I remember my friend, when I went to his house when he was about 10, was watching this film, and he said, every time I go to my uncle's, I go to borrow a film, but I always end up coming home with this one, because he used to rewatch it over and over again. And it's just about 4 friends who go on an adventure down a railway track to find a dead body that everyone is searching for, and they want to become heroes and find this body before anyone else. And it's just a fantastic film, it really is. They lie to each other's parents to say that they're all staying in each other's house, and they end up staying in the woods and stuff. But I love the little obstacles they have to overcome, like a vicious dog chasing them through a junkyard, and there's another bit where they have to cross a bridge because it's like 3 hours quicker than the other way, and they take a risk by walking across this bridge, and halfway across a train comes and they have to run as fast as they can to get to the other side. And there's also a scene in this movie where one of the youngsters tells a story, and it just takes us out of that scenario into a totally different one, and shows a 10-minute scene of this fat kid going into a pie eating contest and getting his revenge on everyone by making them all throw up all over each other. And I just thought that was very clever. It didn't have to be in the film, but it's probably the best scene in the movie. Just a rewatchable, feel-good movie. I love it to death. Stand By Me. Everyone loves that film. Everyone. So yeah, number 4 is Stand By Me. Okay, coming in at number 3, I have cheated a little bit because this is 2 movies occupying 1 space. But I didn't want to clog the list up with the same franchise, and these also appeared in my top 25 greatest films of all time. They're the only films on this list that were in that list, and it is Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Absolute masterpieces from James Cameron. Both of them are amazing. You know, I do prefer the second one a little bit more, but you know, there was a time in my life where I preferred the first one. But now I'm older, I do think the second one is slightly better. However, they are both fantastic movies, and I love the first one contains my favourite movie scene of all time, which is the tech noir, when Arnold Schwarzenegger pulls the gun out on Sarah Connor, and Kyle Reese at the last moment shotguns him about 8 times through a glass window, and Sarah Connor has no clue that this is a Terminator, and she looks up, and Arnold Schwarzenegger slowly rises, and the look on Sarah's face just tells the whole story. She cannot believe what she is seeing. That is priceless acting. It's just brilliant. And Terminator 2, obviously we have Arnold as the good guy in this one. A good little twist by James Cameron, and I like the fact that he didn't go for a meatier, more bigger Terminator. He actually went for the small, slim guy in the T-1000. Just genius directing, genius writing. You know, there's so many good moments in these movies, and they're just 2 of the best films ever made. 2 very important pieces of cinematic history. So yeah, number 3 is Terminator 1 and 2. Sorry about the cheating, but I just had to do it. Coming in at number 2 is Pop Quiz Hot Shot. Yeah, that's it. It's Speed. I love this movie. It's probably my favourite action movie of all time. Just got everything you want in an action movie. I love Keanu Reeves in this. It's my favourite role of his as Jack Traven. He puts his life on the line to save others no matter what the consequences. I love this whole chemistry with Sandra Bullock, where they're trying to keep this bus above 50 miles an hour or it'll blow up. And this bomb is set by Dennis Hopper, who's just a great villain, just doesn't care about anything else but money. He doesn't care if he has to kill 50, 100, 1,000 people. He just wants his money. And I just love that. You're always on edge thinking he'll just blow the bus at any time if his demands aren't met. And you know what, I don't know what it is that makes me want to go. I can watch this film today and it doesn't age at all. You know, I just used to watch it on loop. It was one of the first VHS movies I ever bought. I just love it. I love it to death. I can't imagine this was a very easy film to direct either, with all the overhead shots and the bus constantly moving and stuff. But I just think it's absolutely fantastic. You know, I can go back to this movie anytime. No, I've just seen it so many times. Probably my second most watched movie of all time, apart from the place that is going to occupy number one. The movie that is going to occupy number one, sorry. Yeah, number 2 is Speed. Okay, coming in at number 1, if you know me just a little bit, you will know what this movie is. And it is Robocop. Paul Verhoeven's masterpiece. He's a brilliant director, but this is his best work, easily. I just love it. I can talk about this film all day. I don't know where to start when I mention this film. Now, I watched this as a kid on loop constantly. My dad recorded it for me on TV. I used to watch it constantly all the time. However, after about a year of watching it, my friend lent me the VHS because my tape got damaged. And I didn't realise for all that time I was watching the edited for TV version. And my friend lent me this VHS tape. Terry, if you're watching, thank you for waking me up there back in the past. But he lent me the VHS version, and it had all the violence in, all the swearing, you know, all these moments that were cut from the TV version, and I was blown away. It was like the best thing in my life, just got so much better. And I just couldn't believe it. It was like watching a whole new movie. But, you know, people don't realise how violent this movie is. You know, if you mention Robocop to someone who hasn't seen it, you just think, oh, what's that stupid action film? But honestly, this is a real adult, violent, you know, just so many things in it that you wouldn't think was in a movie called Robocop. You know, and it's a great story. It's got so much black comedy. All the dialogue is landed perfectly by, you know, every character in the film is just got something about them. But my personal favourite characters in this film are Kurtwood Smith's character, Clarence Bodiger, and his gang. They just make the movie for me. And there's a scene in this film that has absolutely hardly anything to do with the story. And it's just them, Clarence and his 3 gang members, have got these brand new guns where it just blows stuff up like little rocket launchers. And they're just blowing up stores and blowing up cars, just having the time of their lives for this 2-minute scene. And it's the best scene in the movie, and it's got absolutely nothing to do with the story, and you just don't see that much anymore. You know, it's a typical 80s film that is just there to tell a story, be serious, but also have a very fun time watching it. And I've seen this film over 200 times easily, maybe even 300. I know every single word to it. I can read the script now without even watching it on screen from start to finish. It's just my favourite movie of all time. It just means something to me. It's part of my life, really. You know, it's just fantastic. I love it. And I've just got the Arrow version, and I can't wait to sit down and watch all them glorious features in one sitting. So yeah, number 1 is Robocop. Okay, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed my top 10 favourite movies of all time list. You know, hopefully you can see the difference when I say favourites and greatest. I hope it's explained as the list went on. But thanks so much for watching. I love doing these lists. I've got a lot more to come. You know, got more reviews coming, more different types of videos, learning how to edit a little bit better now and stuff. So if you want more, please subscribe, because it means the absolute world to me seeing my subscribers go up and knowing that people watch my content. But yeah, thanks again so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video. So yeah, see you later.